Now, if any of you have any questions, just turn your mute button off and just pop in, and I'll, be right here for you. So we're gonna do a little mobility series. Again, this isn't gonna be like crazy, like HIIT workout. We wanna just get you guys moving. We wanna make sure that you're feeling good, and these are things that you guys can do at home, by yourself. I can send the copy, and also we will have this video recorded, so I can send this to you guys as well. All right, so you're in your chair, right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna bend forward. You wanna really round that back. I want you to try to grab the back legs of your chair if you can, and your nose is going to your knee. So this is like a really nice low back stretch. We're kind of opening up those facets, right? The little spine here in the back. So nose to the knees, we're trying to grab the chair, the back of the legs. If you can't get it that far, just try to grab the seat. And I want you to breathe. Let's get 5 really good deep breaths. Your back body really open up. Yep, so nose to knees. Big deep breaths, hold. And release.
Let your head fall too. Let your head go all the way down. So you want that big like U curve all the way. Just let everything kind of go.
Awesome, Justin. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So big deep breaths again. 5 here.
And as you're folded forward, when you take that deep breath, you should feel like when you breathe in through your belly, it's almost compressing the top of your thighs. So as you're folded forward, your breath in should create pressure on top of your thighs.
And see if you can get any lower, if you can grab the legs of the chair down a little bit further. This is also great if you're on a plane going down and you need to brace for landing. Awesome. So come on up after your 5. And we're going to come up out of our chair. And we're going to face it now. So now we're going to go into a little hamstring stretch. All right, we're going to do this on both sides, right? So we want to place one foot on the chair. Hopefully that's okay in your house. Knees slightly bent, right? And see how my back is nice and flat? I'm going to reach down towards my ankle. So we are literally doing a flat back hamstring stretch. So you're gonna stretch as far down as you can, and then you wanna come up. I want your hips square to that chair. I don't want you guys like twisted out. We wanna keep the hips nice and square, reach long with the arms, and we're gonna get 6 of those stretches here on either side.
So if you look down at your toes, both your toes should be pointing straight ahead. So that leg that's on the ground, it's going to be easy for you to turn them out like a duck. Try to keep it facing forward. It's going to force you to really, use that hip and engage it properly.
Awesome, Justin. Yes. Good color commentary. Woo! So if you need if you need your golf club or you need something else to balance on, please feel free and make sure that you're nice and secure. I don't want anybody falling over.
As you're sitting back, the leg that's on the ground, remember that hip hinge thing we always talk about in your golf posture? So as you're reaching forward, you should almost feel like if you see the screen, my hip is going backwards. So you should feel like you're hinging through that back, the leg that's on the ground. And you want to feel this more in the back of your leg than in your lower back. So if you're feeling it in your lower back, try to hinge more, sit your butt back more rather than just rounding forward.
And try to keep, again, the back flat. I'm not rounded. Back is flat. My chest is coming towards my toes. That's how I'm feeling it, really through the hamstrings, from the back of my knee up through into my lower glutes.
And like for me, so think about pulling Big Tom, pull your toe up towards your nose. So dig your heel into it and pull your toe towards your nose. You'll feel a nice Achilles, calf, hamstring too. So if you pull that toe up towards you, the leg that's up, you'll feel it more in your hand, more also in your calf as well.
Good, because I know Tom's hamstrings or his calves are hurting him from running all those hills. Oh. When you get about 6 on either side, switch legs. when you get 6 on the one side, switch legs, and we'll do the other. And each time you reach, try to reach a little bit further.
So remember, sit back, back flat, pull the toe up. Sit back, keep your back flat, and pull your toe up. Make sure you're feeling it in your hamstring, behind your leg, and into your calf, maybe even into your foot a little bit. If you're feeling it in your back, you're probably rounding too much, so try to hinge a little bit more.
Don't forget to breathe, guys. No red faces. Really? You have to be in the middle of everything. Yeah. Awesome. Give me a wave if you guys are all kind of finished with your 6 reps there. Awesome. All right. So we're going to go into our next exercise. Hey. All right. And that is going to be, so we're going to do something for the hip flexors, right up front for the quads and the hip flexors. So she's all right. She's ouch. All right. So basically, we are going.
And if you need your club here to balance, just have your club with you because Shannon's going to be on one leg, but you can do it with or without.
Yeah, so I'll show you what that looks like with the club. So one leg is down, my one shin is on my chair, right? So whichever way you can put you want to push that shin into the chair, right? So the other leg is just slightly bent. And what I want to do is a nice tall body. I want to squeeze my cheeks together. And I really just want it tall, almost like try to push my quad forward. And I'm feeling that stretch right up through the front of my quad. So tall body, push your shin into the chair and squeeze your butt cheeks. Again, you want to stay nice and tall. We want to keep our diaphragm really open for good big breathing. No rounded back, no rounded shoulders. Shoulders are relaxed. We're not scrunched up. Everything is trying to relax, but this is like a lower kinetic chain, like isometric hold. And we're supposed to hold here for 60 seconds. So we're probably about 30 right now. We're going for another second.
So if your right foot's on the chair, your right butt cheek should be squeezing, your abs should be tight. You shouldn't you don't want to be arching your lower back. So you want to be as neutral as you can. If you feel a stretch, it should be on the front of your thigh, your quad, your hip flexor area. But really nowhere else.
About another 10 seconds here. Yep, keep those backs nice and flat. Squeeze the glute. Put your hand on your cheek if you need to figure out if your cheek is if it's engaged.
So you're going to see a lot of overlap when I get to what I'm going to do, but we're going to do a lot with squeezing the glutes and opening up the hip flexors. So it's important for all of us now because we're at home sitting so much, but a lot of this stuff is specifically for, the PGA guys because they travel so much. They're sitting on a plane and doing that. So the idea of getting the glutes activated, getting the hip flexors open is going to be a theme.
All right, so again, we're pushing our shin, going for 60 seconds, shin down into the cushion of the chair, squeezing the glute, nice tall body, pelvic neutral. Relax the shoulders, throw them back, and just squeeze and hold. We're almost halfway there. Breathe, don't forget to breathe. Got about 20, 25 seconds. Ten. 5. Good, and rest, guys. Shake it on out. Woo. All right, so this is where our pillow is going to come into play. So we're going to put the pillow on the floor. All right, so you're going to kneel on your pillow, and your chair will be in front of you. So what we're going to do is this is very similar to, and some of you like Drew, I know you've done sort of that like lunging twist, right? The great stretch. This is sort of similar to that, but I like this exercise. It's a little bit different. You're kneeling on your back. Again, our hips are squared to the chair. So for this, I guess this is a set, whatever. I'm gonna use the left hand to start with. So my right hand is gonna put into the chair, right? I'm gonna keep that nice and flat, and I'm gonna rotate and open and breathe. I'm gonna bring my arm back. I'm just gonna keep reaching out forward. Again, my back is nice and straight. I'm gonna exhale and rotate. My core is tight. My glutes are tight. So we're gonna do this about 5 to 6 times on either side here.
So if you're squeezing your glutes and then your abs are engaged, remember the motion, if anything, it's coming from your rib cage and your neck. You're not cranking on your lower back here. So, you know, you want to make sure that you're really trying to rotate at your chest. And make sure you're looking in that direction. You're always going to go further if you're looking in the direction you're moving.
Yeah, and our hips are still, they're still squared. So we're not really moving the hips like Justin said. We're moving from the thoracic up to the neck and the cervical. I'm exhaling as I rotate out, and then I'm coming back in, inhaling. So this is really also, this is scapula, right? So I'm retracting my scapula. I'm keeping my shoulders low. That's the biggest thing. We're not scrunched up. I don't want your shoulders in your ears. Long neck, scapula retraction like we would a row, right? So I really want you to feel that in your shoulder blade, in the back of your shoulder blade. When you're done about 5 or 6 on that one side, switch sides. Hips again are staying where they are. We're rotating back, drive your arm back, look at your fingertips, and think about squeezing right in your shoulder blade.
So this is the idea also as you're thinking about it of separation. So you're up separating thoracic from pelvis. So your pelvis, your belly button staying square, your thoracic is rotating. As you kind of initiate the back and downswing, specifically the downswing, your pelvis and upper thoracic will kind of differentiate.
Good, I'm just coming in closer because I want to see how everybody's doing. Awesome, Dwight, nice.
Finally got it working.
Guys. Yay, good. I'm so happy everybody's here. Like, it's awesome to have you all. Great.
How many do we have on?
Looks like we've got 8 guys. So I've got Greg, I've got Roger N, Gary. We have Tom Donovan joining us. I believe I have Morrow, Rick, Dick Laurie, Dwight, and Drew. So there's a number of you.
Good.
Great, so great. Love seeing you all. I've missed you. Great, when we're done with that, right, now we're gonna use our pillow again. And we're coming back to seated chair position. Seated chair, we're gonna squeeze the pillow. Woo, feeling it. All right, so we are going to sit in our chair, squeeze the pillow between your legs nice and tight. So hips are nice and square, pelvic neutral, right? We're not arched, we're not rounded. Pelvic neutral, long neck, shoulders are relaxed. And what we want to do, we're going to kind of mirror that, going back to the TPI assessment where we did sort of a seated rotation, right? So again, just like we did in the previous exercise, we're keeping our hips quiet, but we're moving our upper body. So I want you to inhale here, and I want you to twist and exhale. So twist to your left and exhale, and then hold. Inhale, twist, hold. Now, from here, inhale again, And try to twist a smidge bit further if you can. And hold. One last time, inhale. And try to move again, twist a little bit further.
So as you're rotating, you should be trying to, your thigh muscles, your adductors, your groin should be squeezing that pillow.
Hello,
Shouldn't feel it in your lower back. Your abs should be engaged. So you have things that are activating. It's not just a random stretch. So you're really squeezing, abs engaged, squeeze the pillow, and then twist around that.
Go to the other side. You can alternate sides. So I'm getting like 3 breaths out of each side. So let's do 3 sets on either side.
So when you guys do this on your own, also think of it as an assessment. So one side is tighter than the other. That tells you might need to just spend some more time with it. Hey, Drew, just move forward on your chair a little bit so you can get a little bit more rotation. Yeah, scooch to the edge of your chair so the back doesn't limit you. Yep, right from there. Now you can keep squeeze and now rotate from there. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Woo! Awesome. When you guys are finished with your 3 to either side, come back to neutral, shake it out, grab a sip of water. We'll go through all of that one more time, and then I'll kick it over to Justin, and he'll take you through some new stuff.
You know, the other part of this stuff too is obviously it's great for now because we don't need tons of equipment, but you know, a lot of this stuff, the good thing about golf is it's designed even by the PGA guys because they're traveling so much, they never have full equipment. So this is the stuff for you guys, you know, when you're traveling to wherever to play, Florida, Phoenix, anywhere, this is obviously needs no equipment. It's a good thing to do when you get off the plane. And this is a lot of stuff that the pros do anyway. I mean, because they're reassessing all the time because they're traveling more than anyone. So their bodies get real screwed up real quick.
Good. Shake it out. Awesome. Roger, I just see your little head there. I don't know if you want to turn your screen down a little bit. We can see you. Oh my gosh. So cute. There you go. There you go. Nice. Wait, you look like you're in a gym. That's some basement you got there. Nice job.
It's all my wife's equipment.
And Drew, you are really in your man cave, aren't you? Oh my gosh. All right, guys, cool. All right, so we're gonna go back to our chair again. We're gonna go back to the beginning, right? So we've got 5 exercises or little drills here. We're going to rotate over our chair, nose to knees. We're gonna breathe for 5 breaths. Big, deep, long, slow breaths, right? So we're gonna hold back. We wanna really round. We wanna open up that low back. Try to grab the rear legs of your chair and just fold. Again, Justin said chest to your thighs, nose
Yeah,
to
and when you take that deep breath in, you're filling your belly with air. So when you're in that position, you should feel like your belly kind of pushes against your thighs when you take that breath in.
you want to take a picture. All right, when you guys are ready there, we're gonna come up, we're gonna hit those hamstrings, we're gonna get 5 on either side. If you want your pull-up for a little bit of stability, totally fine too. So one leg up on the chair, and again, we're folding forward, those hips coming back, nice flat back. You can bend the knees slightly, and you wanna reach for your ankles and breathe. But again, those hips are going back. You want to feel that between the foot, your hamstrings, your knee, your calf. Flat back, chest is going forward, and the hips are squared to your chair.
Good. Greg, as you're going, keep sitting your hips back towards your wall. So you're going to round forward, but sit your hips back that way a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Good. And you really want to make sure you're feeling this in your leg that's up and that hamstring and even into that glute. And if you want to get the calf involved, you just kind of pull your toes up to the ceiling. Now for you guys, if you want to get your calf involved, you may have to back off a little bit. So you really pull your ankle all the way up to the top. Depending on how much you kind of move your foot, that's how much you'll feel it in your calf. If you want it to go all into the hamstring, you kind of keep your toe pointed towards the ground. If you want to feel it more in your calf, point your toe up to the ceiling. And you could just maneuver it that way. So like I said, my hamstrings are okay. My calves are kind of tight. So when I do this, I really try to bias by pulling my toes up towards the ceiling or towards my nose a little bit as opposed to being down. And I can feel it much more in my calf than I do in my hamstring.
Each time you stretch, then kind of stand and release. You can release those hips a little bit, release the tension in the hamstrings and the calves, and then you go back down. Finish again, about 5 to 6 on either side. I'm sure all of you are probably feeling pretty tight, whether you've been running or walking or sitting, watching, like I said, Netflix. We're all feeling it right now. All right, and when we finish there, we're gonna come into our hip flexor stretch. So nice tall body, and we're pushing that one, the shins into our chair. You're gonna push down and squeeze. So neutral pelvis, tall torso, pushing down into the pad with your shin and squeezing your glutes. Make it thick. Glutes, shin, quad. We want to feel that between the hip flexor and the quad. 60 seconds. Squeeze.
I'm either too tall or my chair is too short.
Let me see. Go ahead. Try it. Yeah, your chair is too. No, that's okay. That's not bad. Bend your left. Bend your left knee a little bit. Yeah, and now squeeze your right butt cheek. So it'll make you use your left leg a little bit more, but it's okay.
Okay.
Almost there, guys. 10 seconds on this side, then we switch. All right, switch sides. Woo. All right, 60 seconds. Push that calf or the shin in. Squeeze the glute. Neutral pelvis. Long neck. Shoulders are relaxed. Woo, almost halfway there.
Tighten your.
20 seconds. 9, 8, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Woo! Nice. We got 2 more quickies, and then we'll switch it to Justin. All right, we're coming back down, facing our chair, kneeling in front of our chair, and this is where we're going to do our scapula mobility, scapular retraction. So again, hips are squared. We're disassociating our upper body from our lower body. We're pressing into the chair with the hand that will stay stable. We're going to rotate and retract our scapula. Think about retracting that shoulder blade back. Looking up at our hands. Core is super tight. I can feel this in my obliques. I can feel it in my glutes. And then bringing the arm back. So nice and slow, controlled movement. Hold, squeeze, retract that scapula back in, and then rotate back forward. And breathe. Don't forget to breathe, please. Okay, 5 on either side.
Gary, push your right arm into the chair a little bit more. Like try to, yeah, push. Exactly.
Straight arm.
Yeah.
Straight arm.
Yep. So the arm that's on the chair should be pushing hard. So you're squeezing, using that arm too. You're creating stability with that side.
Good. And Drew, yeah, when you bring your arm up, try to really retract that scapula. Try to really drive that, like literally your blade down. You know what I mean? Like, so bring your arm up and really squeeze right there at that top.
There you go. And Drew, follow with your eyes. Your eyes to your hand. Look. You look and rotate. Yeah, there you go.
Good, guys. Finish up with your 5 there, and we've got our last one back on the chair, squeezing the pillow when you're ready.
You'll be able to see as you're looking towards your hand, you'll be able to get more rotation. And it's actually interesting if you look at some of the golf teachers now, they're promoting on the downswing, almost looking away from the ball like we never thought possible, is to promote that rotation as opposed to head down all the time. So the same thing, when your eyes follow kind of the way you're moving, you're going to be able to move further.
Good. All right. Back to our chair. Grab your pillow. Kind of come to the edge of your chair, right? So your butt's kind of on the edge. You can sit up in a nice 90-degree tall position. So you've got good 90-degree hips. Because again, we want that movement from the upper body. We're going to cross our arms across our shoulders here. Right? We're going to twist. We're going to inhale first here. And as we twist just from the upper body, hips are going to stay stable. You want to exhale. You want to stay here. Inhale again. Exhale, and one more time. Squeeze the pillow as tight as you can, guys. Felt a big pop in my back. That was kind of cool. Try to relax those shoulders. No shoulders in the ears, Roger. Good. When you get 3 to either side, relax, shake it out, grab some water. Justin's gonna take over.
You have one more? That's it, Shannon.
That was it.
Okay, guys, we're going to go onto the ground to start. And so try to just adjust your cameras down. If you have a mat and your pillow, you're going to want both of those. Also, if you have a club, that's good. If you don't really need it, or a stick. I'll show you a couple versions either way. So just try to lower your cameras down so we can see what you're doing if possible. What I'm going to bring you guys through, that's what Shannon and I were talking about at the start on Titleist Performance Institute on their Instagram and on their YouTube page last week. They posted the warm-up actually what that John Rahm does, and he was showing it with his trainer, his he calls it an activation. So you remember how we talked about there's a difference between just stretching and warming up and muscle activation. So what we're going to go through now is his activation sequence and series that he specifically uses. Now, he follows a lot of the same concept. Obviously, we're all kind of studying from the same people that we do in class, where we start on the ground, then we'll progress our way up to being standing as we go forward. So I'll show you one or two different variations or versions of it. And, you know, as you go through, you'll pick which one is best for you. Obviously, he has a certain body type that he's using for himself, but I will show you a few different variations. So the first one that we're going to do is going to be leg raise or leg lowering. So so what you're going to do is you're going to lay on your back, and if you have a club, what you're going to do is you're going to put the club on your thighs, and you're going to try to lift both of your legs in the air. So you're going to try and push lightly so you don't break your club, but you're going to push the club into your thighs. And now if you have a pillow behind your head just to support your head, that's good. So what we're going to do is we're going to do leg lowering. So we're just going to lower one leg at a time and then the other leg. Now that seems easy. Done incorrectly, it is easy. But remember everything that we talked about before. You want to keep your back pushed into the ground. It should be an ab exercise. So bring both of your legs up to start. Let's all try it, and then we'll show a couple variations. Push your hands into your thighs with the club, abs engaged, back flat, and slowly start to lower one leg at a time, trying to keep your legs straight. Only go as low as you feel comfortable. You don't have to go all the way down to the ground. It's going to be alternating one leg at a time, nice and slow. This is an ab exercise, so just do 3 or 4 on each side. Again, it's just 3 or 4 on each side. It's activation, and then take a break. So legs up in the air, you're pushing into it, back flat, lowering one leg, bringing it back, lowering the other leg, and then bringing it back. And then take a break. So remember, this is activation, so only 3 or 4 reps at a time. I'll show you a variation that's a bit easier, but also works just as well. It's basically the opposite. So you're going to start with your legs on the ground, and then we're just going to lift one leg. You still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're going to push the club into the thigh, and then you're just going to lift up the leg and put it down. And lift up the leg and put it down. So I'll back up and show you a little bit further back. So you're here. You're going to lift one leg, lift the other, put it down, lift the other, put it down. Try to do 5 reps on each side. We're still good with sound, Shannon?
Yeah.
Okay, good, yeah, because I think my headphones went out. But that's okay. Good, so again, you should feel this in your abs, maybe a little bit stretching your calves and hamstring, supporting your head. Good. All right, so that's the leg lowering. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do our dead bug exercise. So you're going to take your club and you're going to go opposite arm, opposite leg. So if you remember a dead bug, we're going on our hands, on our back. We're going to now take the club in your left hand, push it in.
Hey, Mike, can you mute your camera?
What's that?
You need some.
I think you push your right leg to the left thigh, and then you're going to lower your opposite arm and opposite leg. So the club is going to go into your right leg and your left hand, and then you're going to lower the opposite arm and opposite leg. Keep your back flat. So look at Shannon and what she's doing. Good. Leg up and yep.
Bros, mute your camera. Dwight, mute. All
right, good. Now,
Perfect. Now we're going to do glute bridge. So stay on your back. You're going to keep your knees bent. Push your club into your thigh. Remember, we're going to bridge our hips up, squeezing our hips.
Hey, Dwight, can you mute your camera? We can't hear you.
Light, you got
Technical difficulty.
Good. All right, so let's bridge up, squeeze your butt cheeks. I know we can't really hear right now, but let's try to keep our abs tight, bridge our hips up. So squeeze, bend, bridge your hips up, squeeze and hold. Squeeze your butt and down. Up and down, up and down. So you're gonna do 10 like that. Now, if that's easy, once you get to 10, take a break, and you're going to lift one leg up in the air and do a single leg bridge. So one leg goes up, exactly, awesome, really good. And you should be squeezing your butt cheek, not your back, and you should be feeling like you're just lifting one hip at a time. So you can do either way. I'm giving you options on purpose. So double leg bridge, and if that's not challenging enough, you're gonna keep open one leg up and then bridge up and down on one leg at a time. Good. And you can do 10 on each side. Excellent. Really good. Remember, back is flat, abs are engaged. You should feel it in the butt cheek. That is, the leg is on the ground. Good. And try to push your hips up to the ceiling. Awesome. All right, next. We're going to go back into that dead bug position, and we're going to do a mobility drill. So you're going to put your arms, you're going to put the club in your hand, your arms are going to be overhead, and we're going to move our arms one way and our legs the other way. Now, the key here is that you're going to time it so that my arms and legs are going to hit the ground at the same time, and then I'm going to come back to neutral. And then I'm going to do the other side. So my arms and the club are going one way, and my legs are rotating the other way. Go slower than you want to go. Slow, slow, slow. Good. Hey, Tom, keep your knees bent a little bit more and really try to let the club and your knees hit the ground at exactly the same time. So you're going to control it a little bit more. Good job, Gary. Perfect. There you go. Good. Good.
Nice job, Roger.
Drew, keep those knees together a little bit more. Good job, Greg. Excellent. Yeah, really good. All right, nice. All right, good. So that was our floor series. Now we're going to go into a kneeling position. So you can put your, if you want the pad underneath your knee, just that's where you want to use the pillow. And so we're going to go in that half kneeling. So for me right now, I have my right knee down and my left foot up. I'm going to put my club in front of me and put a little bit of pressure on it. So everyone get into this kneeling position. We're going to go on both sides. All right, so from here, I want you to feel like your abs are engaged, and I want you to feel like that knee that's on the ground, you can squeeze that butt cheek. So once you have that, we're going to go into our hip hinge. So watch what I do with my hip. I'm going to sit my butt back. You're going to have to unsqueeze your butt cheek. I'm going to sit back with my hip, and I'm going to go and squeeze. So I'm going to sit back with my hip, and then I'm going to go squeeze. So I'm flattening my back. I'm hinging at my hip. And then at the top, I'm squeezing my glute. Sit your butt back. Chest is going to come down, and I'm going to squeeze my butt. So your butt should go back towards the wall. So if your right leg is down, your right butt cheek should go back towards the wall. And then when you come back up, you should squeeze your right butt cheek. Sit back and squeeze. Sit back, and squeeze. Do about 10 on each side, and then we're gonna switch it up. So now for me, I'm gonna be left leg up. No, I just did left leg. I'm gonna do left leg down. So for me, left leg is down. I'm squeezing my abs. My butt cheek is engaged. The club's out in front of me. I'm gonna hinge my hip backwards, and I'm gonna go up and squeeze. I'm gonna hinge, and I'm gonna squeeze. Now, when you get back to the top and you squeeze, I'll talk you through it. So you should feel like your butt cheek is squeezing. You should feel like your abs are engaged. You should feel a bit of a stretch in the front of your hip flexor or your thigh. So you can see how we're kind of repeating some patterns just in a different way. So Shannon did this with her leg on the chair. We're doing this in a kneeling position. So this is a hip hinge, glutes working. Front hip is engaged and then stretching. And again, you shouldn't feel this in your lower back. It should be a hip mobilization, glute activation. Good. Good job, Dick. That's great. Good. Sit back. Yeah, excellent. Really good, guys.
Yep.
Good. Yeah, excellent. You guys are doing awesome. Really good. All right, cool. Now, let's go ahead and go standing. So let's give you a minute, adjust your camera. We'll go standing. So we're gonna do which we did already, we did it in class. We're going to do the hip hinge deadlift. So we're gonna do two versions of a deadlift, one on one leg and one on two legs. We'll start with the two-legged one. So if you have your club, what you wanna do is take it behind your back, and we say 3 points of contact. So I should feel the club on my butt, on my middle back, and on my head, all right? So that's a neutral spine. Now, if you wanna get a bit more of a stretch, take your arms, if they're forward, and see my left arm is gonna go back, so my arms are opening up. So if you're kind of hunched forward, open up your back and stretch. Now from there, the club doesn't move from your spine. We're just gonna sit our hips back. So we're gonna hinge back, and we're gonna stand up tall. If the club is coming off of your back, that means you're bending your spine, which we don't wanna do. So sit your butt back, hinge, 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 and stand up tall. Good, so you're basically going into your golf posture, but then exaggerating it. So you're sitting back into like your 5-iron stance, and then you're just going back even further. And so at the bottom of this position, when you sit your butt back, you should feel it in your hamstrings, maybe a little bit in your glutes. That's what you want to be feeling. Nothing in your back. Again, that's that hip hinge. So not only is this setup posture, but remember we talked about in the last class that early extension that we want to avoid. So as you're coming through the ball, we don't want to sit up tall. This is the same thing where you're sitting your hips back so that you can get through the ball. And this is the exaggeration of that. Okay, good. Now, don't get confused. We're gonna do the exact same thing, but just on one leg. Now, if your balance is fine, that's good. We're gonna do it on one leg. If you need to hold on to something, you still have the chair, that's fine too. I'll show it to you. So you're going to take the club, you're gonna hold it right now in your left hand, and you're gonna put the butt of the club onto your left top of your foot. And then from there, we're gonna do a single leg deadlift. So I'll show you from the front. So we're gonna sit back and we're gonna stay connected, my hand and my left leg. And I'll show you from the side. We're gonna sit back, keep our back flat and feel it there. Now, if you need to balance, I have the chair here. I can hold on to the chair. I still have the club. And I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna engage and balance through my hip. So this is a deadlift just on one leg, single leg deadlift. Let's do 10 on each side. Feel it in your hamstrings. If you start with the chair, that's fine. See if you can move it away and start to get the balance on one side at one side. So remember, as you're going through your golf swing and your back swing, if you're a righty, you're going to try to more weight, 80% of your weight, maybe on your back foot. And then obviously you're going to transfer through. So the translation here is that we want to make sure that you're getting a good amount of stability through each hip because we want you to be able to balance independently on each side. Now, as you, similar to what we cued you before when we did the hamstring stretch, as you sit your hip backwards, here I'll show from the back, what I want to see is, I don't want to see this happening, you opening up your foot and flaring out. I want to keep everything in line. So my toes are always pointed straight. I'm not letting anything turn out. All right, good. Let's go back to our double leg hip hinging again. So let's go back to that one. So remember, 3 points of contact. If you did it last time with your right arm up, just switch arms. And again, so in this position, I'm going to get shoulders. You see my bottom arm, if I don't want to stretch it, my arm will be back. I'm going to bring my arm forward. And then on my front arm, if it's forward, I want to bring it back. So right now, I'm in alignment. Again, neutral spine, we say 3 points of contact, so you should have it connected to your head, your middle back, and then your butt or your glutes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to engage our abs, and we're just going to sit backward and stand up tall and squeeze. Good. Abs engaged, sit your butt back. Feel it in your hamstrings. So get to your golf posture, make sure you're sitting back. Good. Excellent. If you feel like it's a struggle when you kind of get towards the bottom and you feel like you're trying to pull the club onto your head, just try to readjust yourself. Try to, get long through your spine. Try to make an adjustment there that you're going to feel like you're getting into that neutral posture. If you feel like you're really limited because maybe you have a shoulder that doesn't have the mobility and you want to get more out of the exercise, then maybe just take one arm off and just hold it with one hand. There's a lot of different variations to this that you can do. So if you guys are standing upright and you feel like the club's connected to the 3 spots, 1, 2, 3, and then as you go down, you feel like the club leaves, that means as you're going down, you're rounding or moving your spine. So if you're starting connected and then you lose it as you go, that means you're rounding in your back as opposed to staying neutral in your back. And then if you have your arms in one position, let's try to switch sides. And let's do 10, and then we're going to go back and we're going to finish up with our single leg deadlifting. All right, so now let's go single leg deadlift to finish up. So this time, really try and so grab the face of the club. I want you to hold the face of the club because I want you to put the butt end onto your foot. And I really want you to try and create some compression here. That's going to get your abs engaged. It's going to get your shoulder engaged. Keep that there. And then I want you to go into your single leg deadlifting. So you're going to be here, and then you're going to hinge your hip back. I'm compressing my hand and foot and standing up tall. Coming back and standing up tall. Good. Good, and when you get to 10, switch. So you're going to put the butt end of the club on your foot. You're going to have that same side hand, and I'll go from the side, and you're going to hinge your hip back. Excellent. Good, really good, guys. Excellent. Perfect, cool. So Shannon, good? Perfect. So I know that Shannon can send you the link to her side, but again, like I said, with this is, if you have Instagram and TPI, you can go on to there. It's only a few posts away, but I know it's also on YouTube, but Shannon, we'll give them the link to this. This is just John Rahm's pre-round warm-up activation series. And literally he just does it with a club. That's it. You know, we've talked about in the past that, you know, he does it in the tent where that's why he's on the ground, then he's kneeling. But you see, you know, you can just do some of these standing with just a club as well. Obviously, we're all home now, so we can do a lot of this. But we just spent, you know, 45 minutes with a chair, a pillow, a club, and we did some pretty good mobility. So we were, just to kind of review, we worked on the rotation that we've done with the mid-back. We worked on some pelvis stuff. We worked on hip hinging, getting the hips and glutes activated and the hip flexors opened up. Core strong, a lot of neutral pelvis. So this is all stuff that, you know, we would do even if we had full equipment and access to it. So we can all do this really well from, you know, from our own home and make the best of the situation. The one thing that I was going to tell you guys, we talked about at the end before, is if you have the ability either inside or in your yard, I would make sure that you are working up to taking some full swings. Again, I'm going to try to put out a podcast this week with my friend Kirk, who's a golf instructor. And the way we kind of think about it is, for you baseball guys out there, or like baseball, you don't want this to become, you haven't thrown for 2 months and then you go try to throw 9 innings, right? So the day that we're all able to back to go out, you know, you're going to play 18, and the next day you're going to play 18, and, you know, a week in, you're going to be in trouble. So make sure that you are taking some full swings, some full speed swings, that you're taking 40, 50, 60, you know, in a round, so to speak, to try to mimic some of that, because if we're not working full speed, it's gonna be rough when we get back out there. So just make sure you are incorporating some of that stuff in as well, to make sure that when we